Hello, everyone. So, Virgo, the silence you've noticed, it's deliberate. When someone vanishes from digital spaces where they once existed visibly, that absence carries meaning. Online presence is currency in modern connection. We scroll, we check, we monitor, sometimes consciously, often on autopilot. And when someone who occupied screen real estate suddenly erases themselves, that vacuum screams louder than any post ever could, especially when that someone is an ex. What's unfolding here might be more layered than you realize. Digital disappearances rarely happen impulsively. They're usually calculated decisions made after internal deliberation. And understanding the possible motivations behind your ex's social media exodus could offer clarity or at least context for the questions circling your mind. So let's explore what might be driving this retreat. Hold on, let's sit with this for a moment. Reason one, they're processing pain privately. Grief doesn't always announce itself publicly. Some people need to collapse inward when healing, away from eyes that judge or measure their recovery timeline. Your ex might be creating a cocoon, a space where they can fall apart without documentation, without audience, without performance. Social media demands curation even in suffering. And maybe they're too exhausted to curate, too raw to caption their feelings with the right balance of vulnerability and strength. So they disappear entirely rather than pretend they're okay or admit they're not. That withdrawal could be self protection. Reason two, they're avoiding temptation to check on you. Distance isn't just physical. Sometimes it requires removing tools of connection. Your ex might recognize that having access to your digital life keeps them tethered in unhealthy ways. That scrolling your posts, dissecting your stories, analyzing who you're following, it's preventing actual detachment. So they delete the apps, deactivate accounts, create obstacles between impulse and action, not because they don't care, because they care too much. And caring from a distance where nothing can change feels torturous, so they eliminate the ability to torture themselves. That's actually growth masquerading as disappearance. What would it mean if their absence is about protecting their own healing? Reason three, they're trying to make you notice. Paradoxically, vanishing can be a visibility strategy. Some people disappear precisely to be noticed, to create concern, to trigger where did they go? Thoughts that keep them mentally present even while digitally absent. It's manipulation dressed as mystery. If your ex disappeared suddenly without explanation, especially following a pattern of seeking attention through dramatic gestures, this could be tactical. They're banking on curiosity, on you reaching out through other channels, on absence creating the impact their presence wasn't achieving. Not everyone who disappears is healing. Some are performing. Reason four, they're rebuilding identity outside the relationship. Long term relationships create digital footprints that tell a story. Couple photos, tagged memories, comment threads that reference we instead of I. And sometimes staying active in those spaces means staying identified as half of something that no longer exists. Your ex might be dismantling that identity, starting fresh where no one knows them as your person, where their online presence can reflect who they're becoming rather than who they were. That requires erasure, first clearing the old canvas before painting something new. It's not about you specifically, it's about them reclaiming singular selfhood. Reason 5, they're dating someone new who requested it. New relationships sometimes come with conditions. And one common request is digital distance from exes, not because of trust issues necessarily, but because constant accessibility to past connections complicates present ones. Your ex might have met someone who felt uncomfortable with your visibility in their feeds. Or maybe they themselves recognized that building something new while maintaining digital ties to something old creates confusion. So they chose deletion, clean slate, full focus forward. That stings differently than other reasons because it suggests they've moved in ways you might not have. How does the possibility of them dating someone new sit with you is less than #0. 5 is greater than. Reason 6, they're overwhelmed by digital life generally. Sometimes social media departure isn't about you at all. It's about them hitting a breaking point with constant connectivity, comparison culture, performative existence, the exhausting requirement to document rather than simply experience life. Your ex might be part of a growing movement toward digital minimalism, recognizing that algorithms and endless scrolling were depleting rather than enriching them. And while the timing post breakup might seem personally motivated, it could actually be coincidental, an overdue decision that happened to occur now. Not everything is about the relationship ending. Sometimes it's just about sanity preservation. Reason 7, they're embarrassed about the breakup. Public relationships create public endings, and not everyone wants to field questions, receive sympathetic comments, or explain what happened to digital acquaintances who feel entitled to details. Disappearing bypasses all that awkwardness. Your ex might be avoiding the social fallout, the what happened DMs, the subtle or overt judgment from people with opinions about your split, the performance of being fine when they're not, or the admission of struggle to audiences that don't deserve access to their vulnerability. Going dark eliminates the audience entirely. Reason 8, they're following advice from therapist or support system. Healing often involves professional guidance, and therapists frequently recommend social media breaks post breakup, not as punishment, but as strategic boundary setting that supports emotional recovery. Your ex might be implementing therapeutic homework, taking seriously the suggestion that digital detachment accelerates healing, that staying connected even passively through social media keeps them in liminal space between together and apart. So they're choosing apart fully, definitively. That's healthy behavior, even if it feels rejecting. Which of these reasons resonates most with what you know about your ex? Here's what matters more than identifying the exact motivation. Their digital absence is information data about where they are internally, how they're choosing to process, what boundaries they're establishing. And while that information might sting or confuse or frustrate you, it's ultimately about their journey, not yours. You don't need to solve the mystery of their disappearance. You need to focus on your own healing trajectory. Whether they're gone because they're moving on, or because they're falling apart, or because someone new requested it, or because they're following therapeutic advice, none of that changes what you need to do, which is process your own grief. Build your own life. Move forward on your own timeline. Their absence from social media doesn't owe you explanation. And seeking that explanation through speculation or indirect investigation keeps you entangled in their choices rather than focused on yours. As I'm closing this reading, I want you to consider something. Maybe their disappearance is actually a gift, an opportunity for you to stop monitoring, stop analyzing, stop using their digital presence as a barometer for your own emotional weather. When someone removes themselves from your view, they're creating space. What you fill that space with determines whether their absence becomes liberation or obsession. Fill it with your own life, your own growth, your own connections and experiences, and rediscovery of who you are outside that relationship. Let them be gone, really gone, not just from Instagram, but from your mental real estate. Thank you for being here. If this resonated, share in the comments. Has your ex disappeared from social media? Which reason do you think applies? Their digital absence is their choice. Your healing is yours.